broken promises. All talk, no action. Just broken promise after broken promise.
Yeah, I think we covered that one. It's like she had this keen ability, this amazing ability to know just how far she could push me. When she knew I was going to end it, it's like now she would come at me with how sorry she was and how she was going to do this and do that. And, when you're in love with somebody or when you feel like you are, when you want it to work, it's like you hang on to those promises and you want to believe them so bad, so it patches it up for the night and you believe them and you feel like they're sincere. I know with me, I base things on my own perspective, and I know that if I made her that promise, I would mean it. So even though she may have made the same promise 1,000 times, every time I wanted to believe it. And so I would fall for it. But then there would never be any follow-up. Or there'd be just enough follow-up to make me think, like the willingness to go to a marriage counselor or a therapist or whatever. But even that was all just kind of there was nothing serious about it. She never went in there and really tried to focus and get better. It's like she would do it to just patch that situation up. Ultimately, you will look back and think, what the hell just happened? Like, what just happened? Where did that person go that was making all those promises the other night? You'll realize that you've been duped over and over and over. I mean, and after a few times of that, once again, it's time to bounce. It's time to get out of it.
Exactly.
Save yourself.
Exactly, man. Compulsive and pathological liars.
Oh my goodness. There again, I've met liars in my life. People that I can consider like a habitual or compulsive liar, but it's always been the person that just brags a lot. They overinflate how many people that they've dated or how much money they make or whatever. It's typically you see it as like they have a low self-esteem and they're just bragging about themselves or whatever. You just kind of discredit it. I never knew this level of lying. I never, like I said, the willingness to swear on your nephew's life, it's like on a daily basis I was lied to and lied to and lied to and lied to. I'm trying to think of some specifics. I haven't talked about this much for a few months, so I'm a little rusty, like I told you, but it's like, you just see all the evidence pointing towards something else, but yet they're telling you, and they can look you square in the eye. Let me tell you something. I even bought a book. I went to Barnes & Noble and bought a book on how to detect when a person is lying to you. This girl would have passed a lie detector's test. She was such a skilled liar that she didn't do any of the things that I read in that book. I read that when people are lying, they'll tend to cover their mouth because they're like trying to stop themselves from telling this lie, that we have this natural instinct. Nope, she didn't do any of that. She looked me straight in the eye and just casually tell me whatever she wanted to convince me of. The last affair that she had that ended the relationship, she never has admitted it.
Wow.
I saw this person's car in her driveway night after night after night. The person she got involved with admitted it to me. I've got text messages with this person admitting it to me. But yet my ex never ever did. Even in court when we got the divorce, when it came up, she swore under oath that there was no relationship.
I didn't get that far in your videos. I don't know if you talked about it in your videos, but I didn't get that far. I didn't even know about that part. Yeah,
I think I did cover it. But even when this was long after it was over, but even when I'm trying to say it carefully because the person she got involved with the last time was another woman. It doesn't matter, but I've just caught myself trying not to say it, and that doesn't matter. I have no issue with that whatsoever. It's the affair that but this girl her girlfriend had texted me and contacted me on Facebook and stuff a couple of times, And yeah, she clearly admitted it, and there was all the evidence in the world of it. But my ex would not, never ever would, never did admit it. So there it is.
I don't know how somebody can just lie, and then like be able to like sleep at. Like, how can you sleep at night just knowing like you're just living on one big lie? Like, how can people live with that? I just don't understand. Like, I would feel so bad, you know, like. That's crazy that people can just lie
that's
like
why
that.
It's hard for us to understand, because we have a conscience. You know, we
Exactly.
live our life with a conscience, and it's difficult to lie. It's not comfortable, you know, and then we have to worry about, oh, what if people figure out, you know, we worry about those things. So it's easier for us to tell the truth, you know. And with them, they don't have that. So we're trying to understand them, and we really can't, because we live our lives with a conscience, and we only know how it is to live with a conscience. Where they truly, I mean, that's one of the symptoms that's probably on the list. They literally lack empathy and conscience. They don't have it. It doesn't exist for them.
That's some scary stuff, y'all. I want everybody listening to make note of it and keep track of all of the traits that we're giving y'all, and put them together and see, like I said, if it's like a good, I would even say probably even 3 is not good. If it's 4 or more, I'm telling you, you need to start really reevaluating your situation and start making plans to exit. That would be my advice. Moving along, highly seductive. Highly seductive?
Yeah.
Yes, the seduction.
Yeah, and, you know, I thought that this was, you know, from the male's point of view, at the women, but when you start talking to more people that have experienced this, it's just as much so for the men. I mean, the men, you know, in the relationship, the men that have this personality disorder, they are the same way, and I got to tell you, it's unlike anything I've ever experienced. It's almost like it's a level way beyond any temptation or anything. It's like a power that they have. I mean, it's a very, very strong ability to seduce, and they use it all the time. It's very common. Almost everybody I've talked to experienced that. That they just are very seductive. They create that. I can't even tell you how they do it. It's just an instinct that they seem to have, and they use it to the fullest extent. They're just seductive, and you know, I remember we'd be in this great big fight, you know, and it would be like I'm figuring out who she is and what's going on, and if nothing else worked, she would just use that, and as a man, it would work. You know, it would get my mind off of what was going on, and yeah, very, very, very powerful, and they use it. It's another manipulation.
What better way to shut a man up and put a smile on his face than seduction, right?
Yeah, and it's well, yeah. I mean, in just basic terms, that's true. But then this is such a level that it's almost scary. I mean, I never had that. I mean, she could get away with anything with me, and then just turn that on, and it's like it all went away. They're very, very good at it.
Exactly. I want y'all to keep note of everything, every trait we read. Please, keep note of everything, because our goal here is definitely to help shed light. This is a funny one.
Before we bounce on to before we get on to the next one, I mean that one is just such a big thing, because I think it's a real warning sign. And I'd actually heard this years ago and didn't think about it until it was too late. But when it comes to the sex in the relationship, if it's insanely crazy good beyond anything you've ever known, be careful. I mean, like abnormally.
Most people be like, "What? Are you crazy? That's what I want." But it's so much deeper than that.
It is, and they gain a lot of control and a lot of power through that, and you get almost addicted to that part of it. It's really, really difficult to leave that, because they are so good at what they're doing, and I don't mean that in a crude way. I mean overall, in general, if it's like the craziest, wildest, best you've ever had, just be really careful, because it's probably going to come along with some strings.
Exactly, and that's for the men and the women out there, because it goes both ways, for sure.
Yeah.